I took care of the carcasses. We can drive on.
Nice work. There's even a bit of meat left for me.
Yeah, you'd eat that. They've been lying there God knows how long.
But nicely in the cold. There's nothing wrong with it. Anyway, you won't be eating it, so don't worry about it. Let's keep going. Lads, seeing as how you don't obey me, you're surely horsing around today. So far it ain't that bad, eh? You don't have to take down no hanged man or bury an unbaptized child.
Well, ever since I started working for the miller, all I did was carry sacks. The sack makers here in the region must live like kings. Of course it could be a lot worse.
I like having to carry sacks full of thistles. Now listen to me closely. You won't be carrying anything at the next farmstead. Instead, you'll have to make one carcass there. See, the work of a knacker ain't just about clearing away dead animals. Now and then you've got to put down some creature, so it don't suffer. Or, like today, to put it down so everyone around it don't have to suffer. In this case, we're talking about a dog.
Well, what can I do? But I doubt I'll feel good about it.
That cur belongs to the greengrocer, Vizar. I've heard they're both pretty fierce. Don't draw too much attention to yourself at the farmstead. I'll give you some Aesop potion to drink first, and some meat and bane. Soak the meat with the poison and throw it to the dog. He'll probably be locked in a pen somewhere. As soon as it's done, we'll disappear before anyone notices anything. I got paid well for it from the neighbors, so don't fuck it up for me. Lazy bones. Lazy bones. Did you hear about what happened?
God bless you.
Excuse me.
Oh, Sakra! The dog isn't here. The door's open. Where did he run off to? Barking? He's coming from over there.
Where'd you come from? What are you...
Bonnie? What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
The gravedigger wants me to poison that dog.
Jesus! And are you going to do it?
Well, what else can I do? You're the one who sent me to Ignatius. You just tactfully neglected to mention that when you and Zinnek were acting as his hands, you robbed half the houses in the county.
Shit. It's all gone sour.
This is all I have left to do before he takes me to the saltpeter pit.
And couldn't you find the pit without that? Just take a look at that poor creature. I'd like to keep him in place of my poor dead sniffer.
You surely know how to pick 'em. Your poor creature is terrorizing the whole area.
It's not the animal's fault. When Zinnek and I were here last, I saw how old Vysarik treats him. He doesn't give him food, he abuses him. With a master like that, he won't last long. You wouldn't kill a dumb creature just because its master is a sick horson, would you?
Well, you don't have to convince me. Ever since the gravedigger told me to do it, I've been trying to figure out how to save that dog. If you want to take him, I won't stop you.
You're a much better Christian than I thought you were. I'll take him to the lair. We'll meet there.
Hurry off now, before someone sees us together.
Come on now, boy. You'll like it in the lair.
It's taken care of.
Taken care of? What do you mean?
The dog is dead. So, can we go to the pit now?
Dead, eh? And what are you so nervous about?
Well, it wasn't pleasant to watch. I did it exactly how you told me. I poisoned him.
Oh, aye. And how did it go exactly?
Well, I dipped the meat in poison. He ate it, and peacefully departed to doggy heaven.
So, it all went how it should. I use a real strong mixture so the creatures don't suffer too much. He's done for, the beast. Finally. Let's go before we start looking suspicious.
So this is it. This is the pit.
Slowly, boy. Slowly. Have a bit of respect. Death always deserves respect, whether it's people or animals.
I was expecting some huge hole in the ground. This is just some hollow. 3 piles of earth and that's it.
3 huge piles, you mean to say? True, it used to be one big pit. But then I found out when you pile up carcasses in smaller pits and throw some wet hay between them, it all rots better. And the better it rots, the more nitre you'll have. Are you going to take some right away?
I won't. I'll just tell Crazel where you have it. I don't know if he'll take something away. Maybe he'll just make his own pit according to your design.
Now that would be a great honor.
Well, I reckon I'm delaying the inevitable. I'll still have to taste it.
You're going to taste it?
It's the only way I can be certain it really is saltpeter.
God's nails. And they say I'm disgusting. Wait a moment. I've got a reward for you. Just so's you don't think old Ignatius and his even older nags is ungrateful riffraff. Take it as a thanks for your help. Maybe you'll take over my trade one day when I'm pushing up daisies myself.
Who knows? Maybe that'll really be my fate. I'll live at the cemetery, build piles of carcasses, and eat bread with saltpeter.
Here's something that'll definitely come in handy if you ever need to go through all this again, either with me or somewhere else.
Thanks.
Taste it then. Get to it. This I have got to see. You didn't have to make such a feast of
it. Look at me. I'm a Lord's messenger to a taster of cadavers. Cold and salty. This must be it. If you're going back to your cottage, I'd like to take a ride with you.
Of course. But in return, you have to help me get all this lot buried. So there's some more saltpeter in the making.
Good day.
I found the place where we can harvest saltpeter. You just head out of Troskovitz towards Apollonia, carry on alongside the road, then head off it at the right spot. Only it's not a pit, it's 3 piles of earth. The gravedigger Ignatius drove me there himself.
And is it the real stuff? Did you taste it?
Yeah. And I hope I never have to do that again. Ugh. I think the experience has changed me forever.
Oh, come on. You whine more than Zinnik. It's just commonplace salt. I was hoping it'd be closer. To go all the way to Apollonia. If I send 2 wagons, that should be enough.
What should I do?
That means I could mix a barrel and a half.
Krazel, focus. What else do you need from me?
Oh, sorry. What were you asking? About a reward? It's right here.
Thanks. How's it going with the golem?
Well, the whole thing is really appealing to a scholar of my field of interest and important for humanity. But certain circumstances have emerged which, unfortunately, move its creation somewhere further into the future.
Wait, what do you mean? So there won't be any golem?
Not for now.
What about all the niter? The life essence?
I admitted to myself it's maybe too much to take on, and I decided to go back to my roots.
So the search for saltpeter was for nothing?
Not at all. The saltpeter will help us create primordial matter. The origin. Chaos. Materia prima.
God. Here we go again.
As alchemical scholars, we actually have only one task before us. To penetrate the diaphanum and find out where it gets its disposition and power from. Only then will we understand the nature of the shadows.
Eh?
I'll explain it to you.
Tell me then. So what's the next task, Krazel?
There's a quiet whisper coming from the open gates of Trotsky, carried by the wind all the way here to me. Do you hear it too?
No. I reckon my ears aren't that good.
Scribe Erzim received a chest from Prague, and in that chest...
Hermes Trismegistos' document?
No, a book. And from an author even more venerable than Hermes. It's thin with a sand-colored cover, embossed. Ordinary at first glance, but the treasure's inside. You might say it's a kind of alchemist cookbook.
So you're gonna have me go and pick some locks at the castle, eh?
Did I say anything about stealing? No, when the castle was still closed, I planned to get the book through the castle chamberlain, with the help of a certain woman. But now that you have access to Trotsky yourself, it'll be much simpler.
What about that certain woman? What was your plan?
That's old news. The central figure is now the Trotsky scribe, Erizin. He's a great lover of knowledge. I'm sure he'd be happy to indulge another kindred soul and lend him the book, indefinitely and voluntarily.
Let's hope so. I'll pray I'll be able to convince him, and that I won't have to ride around Trotsky picking up carcasses again. Or worse.
Just do your best. The book is the last piece of the puzzle. The very last. But looking back at your two previous tasks, I have no doubt you'll be able to handle the third just as well. Go and see Erizim and ask him about the book. Then you'll see how difficult it will be to get your hands on it. Best of luck, Henry.
I reckon I'll need it. I could use a nap.
Are you going to do laundry today?
I don't think so. God bless.
Here you go. Take it.
Jesus Christ be praised. Pissing down rain.
I've been banging this spot for a long time. This is gonna take a while yet.
How's your sister?
Fine. Why'd you ask?
I heard she was sick. I just wanted to know if she's feeling better.
It was nothing. Just a slight cold. Aye, a man would be calling for the priest. But women...
Herrgott, that's not good. I'll never finish it like this. I should move it. This'll be done in no time.
Damn weather.
Good. That looks finished.
Katarsal, what's up, Jungoshina?
Sartu Kejal.
Katarsal, what's up, Pooch?
Te aveți Bachtalo.
Laću žives, gađo.
About that saber for the Voivod.
Have you forged it yet? Show me.
It's ready. I quenched it in the soot water.
What about the blood?
I killed a dog. I did everything like you said. Here you go. I think I did a pretty good job with it.
Shukariben. Beautiful. The Voivod will be happy about how well it fits in the hand. You're probably waiting for a reward, aren't you? Here, just take it. We've got enough to share. And here's something for you to wear. Let other folk see that you're our friend.
Thank you. I mean it.
Ah, at least it'll be clear to all. You're one of ours and you don't wish us ill. Unlike certain other people.
What do you mean?
When the Voivod was washing away the curse, I looked at the coals in the water. They made circles on the bottom. That means the Voivod was cursed by a woman.
A woman? What woman?
The coals didn't say. Though I do have an idea who it was. But enough of that. I'm sure you have enough on your plate already. And we thank you, Miromanush. Take care.
Careful!
Jesus Christ be praised.
Te aveți Bachtalo, more.
Greetings.
Excellent, excellent.
I heard some interesting books from Prague have arrived at the castle. There's one I'd like to borrow. An alchemist's cookbook. A sand-coloured cover, embossed.
Yes, several rare and astonishing books have arrived from Prague. But why are you interested in an alchemist's cookbook, of all things?
I've heard there are some interesting ideas in it. Every alchemist is in dogged pursuit of wisdom, especially those from Prague.
Perhaps you know more about that book than I do. Well, I'll have to disappoint you. Lord Nickvard Libak helped me sort the new books at the time, and the one you're looking for caught his attention. He left with it before I could even discover what it's about. All I remember is the author's initials, B.B. I'm fairly benevolent when it comes to lending books, and I appreciate Nickvard's help, but he's had it borrowed for an excessive amount of time now. I'd like to ask him to return it, but he's been avoiding me.
Why would Nickvard suddenly be avoiding you?
I have a sneaking suspicion. It seems Nickvard lost the book. I've warned him repeatedly not to carry borrowed books around with him, but to leave them in his chamber and read them there. But Nickvard is old and stubborn, and this is how things turn out.
The price of such a book must be incalculable. People like Nickvard are too dumb to understand.
But I digress. As I said, Nickvard is intentionally avoiding me. But I've made headway. I've managed to find 3 people who've spoken to him recently. Bertha, the cook, Regina, the maid, and Hirsch, the hand.
I reckon those aren't the only 3 people that know him.
I'm surprised that he's ever spoken to anyone but myself. Nickvard is a loner, which is also why I suspect something bad has happened. Now that he's decided to leave his shell, that is. But I'm afraid that's all I've managed to find out. Since Lord von Berkhove's arrival, I've been preoccupied with other matters.
I'll help you. I'll ask all 3 and see if they lead me to Nickvard.
Many thanks. If you aren't sure what to do, stop by and we'll discuss what you found out.
Before I go, can you tell me where I can find those people in the castle?
Who, exactly?
Where is Bertha?
Bertha cooks for us in the crone's kitchen. She's there most days. If you can't find her there, try the first house in the lower castle, across from the door to the dungeon.
Where is Regina?
As Lord von Berkhoff's personal maid, she'll likely be somewhere in the Maiden's Palace, perhaps in the Knight's Hall, or on the floor above it, near the Lord's chambers. She even sleeps there.
Where is Hirsch, the stable boy?
I've seen him with Hirsch at the transport yard below the castle. He sleeps in the house directly across from it. I don't know him much, though.
You said Nickvard is avoiding you. Where at the castle does he live? Are there any places he frequents?
Nickvard lives like a hermit here at Trotsky. Like a ghost. His chambers are in the Crone's Tower. But God knows if he's ever slept there. He took his meals down in the Crone's kitchen. Lately, I've often seen him talking to Regina in the Knight's Hall, in the Maiden, or looking out the hall window. I caught sight of him a few times with Hirsch at the transport yard below the castle.
So I just have to hope I run into him somewhere.
Nickvard always just shows up. I've rarely ever found him on my own. I'm not surprised you can't find him anywhere, since I've been trying myself.
That's everything I needed to know.
All right.
Greetings!
Be that as it may, my nose would surely appreciate it. Is it really decent for a woman to sit like that?
Greetings.
Bertha, instead of devils, I need your help now with Nickvard. The scribe told me you might know something about him.
Well, I'm waiting for Lord Libac to stop by. I brewed him another phial of medicine, but I don't even know if the last one helped. I told him to stop by for another one soon. I reckon he must be feeling better.
Did he say where he was headed?
I can't say. I promised Lord Libac his secret is safe with me, as well as his phial of medicine.
Oh, come now. Nickvard misplaced an important book somewhere. A sort of alchemist cookbook. I need to find it.
I remember the recipes by heart. And Lord Libac's secret is certainly worth more than any book.
Well, if a nobleman's secret is worth so much, how about this? That'll buy you more than one book.
I suppose Lord Libac wouldn't mind. And do you have the exact amount?
Of course.
So many groschen. I promise I'll split it with Lord Libac when I see him, and I'll explain everything.
But now tell me, what's the medicine for?
Well, it's a common potion for a bellyache. Just better tasting. It helps your meals go down easier and come out slower the other end. In that regard, Lord Libac had, well, how to say it? Everything came out much too quickly.
Just say it. He shot himself.
It was in the privy down below the Crone, by the training ground below the guardhouse. I helped him clean his hose and made him the medicine, and I promised that I wouldn't say anything. Lord Libac is quite particular about the impression he makes on the young maids, you know. He didn't want this little episode to put them off. That's why he didn't use the privy near the maids' quarters, though it's closer to his chamber, but to the arena instead, and only when there weren't any soldiers around. But this time, it caught up with him.
Is that all?
What else is there to say? That the entire time he looked as if he'd done the worst thing in the world. It happens to the best of us. And I told him as much then. I'm just surprised he never came back for another file. I must say, he did look as if the fate of the entire castle was suddenly on his shoulders.
I don't know if this is going to do me any good.
Well, you could have found a worse clue.
Thanks anyway.
Greetings. Do you need something?
Do you know where I can find Nickvard? The scribe said you might know.
Erazim is suddenly interested in Nickvard and me. You don't say. But when I need him to read something for me, he never has the time. I'm sorry.
I was asking about Nickvard.
Aye, I heard you. Say, can you read?
I can.
In that case, would you mind reading this message I have from Nickvard?
Show me. Dear Mistress of the Chambers. What is it?
Oh, what I wouldn't give to get messages from someone else. Say, Lord Capon? Ah, never mind. Read on. Though I reckon it interests you more than me.
Persevere. We shall soon escape the dungeon of those two women. Cursed fate, however, has placed an obstacle in my way. The heat of the Lightbringer's potion is working, and I can feel my insides being reborn. But when the last remnants of old age left my body, something else was washed away with them.
How much longer is it?
Not much. My damn clumsiness has sent all of the Lightbringer's secrets into the void, but fear not, I shall get them back. May this be the first task on the road to your liberation. That's it.
Beautiful.
That was complete nonsense. I was embarrassed to read it.
Imagine how I felt having to listen to it.
But what does it mean? Can you explain any of it to me?
Lord Liebach has taken a liking to me. I suggested to him it wasn't proper for a noble to have an affair with a maid. But he thought I meant he was too old for me. But then he found what he calls the Lightbringer's potion book. He said it would light a flame in him that would burn out all that's old. So I suppose it worked. Hooray!
I know the book he's talking about, but what does he mean, into the void?
Look, can we stop talking about this? I feel a little uncomfortable here talking about some old lovelorn nobleman.
I need help. You can give it some thought, can't you?
No! And now leave me alone.
Christ, pardon me.
I'm always glad to see polite people like you. God be with you. How can I help you today, friend?
You silly donkey.
Good afternoon.
I'm looking for Nickvard. The scribe told me you might know something about him.
Hey, Nick. I mean, Lord Liebach. I almost forgot about him. I suppose his task wasn't so pressing, hmm?
What task?
Nick Liebach, that is, entrusted me with a big task quite a while back. He's a castle lord. Obviously, I had to obey him. But then I heard what another castle lord was planning, von Berghoff, and I had to obey him even more. He says there's a war on. So here I am, ready to go off to battle.
I need to know more about what Nickvard asked you to do.
No. There are new rules now. You have to prove you're not a spy.
I understand, sure. Just tell me what you want, and let's not delay.
A sword.
Sword? Hmm? What sword?
A long and very good one to help me deal with other spies. If you bring it to me, I'll know you're not an enemy spy who should fear me. Forge one, buy one, or even steal one for me. Maybe from one of the guards at the training ground or down by the gate. During the day, they're not in the towers anyway.
Steal a sword? That sounds like something a spy would do.
Not a spy who wants to help von Bergoff's most loyal servant. By servant, I mean me. See, once I get a sword, I'll fill you in on Nickvard's task.
I'll gladly give you some groschen to buy your own sword.
Only spies pay bribes. Unless you had more groschen than a common spy would have. Then I'd believe you ain't one of them. Do you have that much?
I'm not going to pay you that much.
You want to hang on to your spy earnings. I understand. Well, you won't get another chance.
Listen, Hirsch.
Don't try any word games on me. Persuasion, threats. I know about them spy tricks. Deeds talk louder than words. For example, like bringing me a sword.
I'll think of a way to convince you. About Nickford.
Got that sword yet, spy?
You wanted a sword? So look at what I got for you.
That's perfect. Lovely. I don't think you're a spy. Can't say for sure, but you seem all right.
What about Nickford, then?
Nickvard asked me to do something for him. He must have admired my devotion to Lord von Bergoff. Either way, Nick looked troubled and not very healthy. He wanted me to fetch him something he lost outside the castle. And I told him I would. At least I could check to see if anyone was sneaking around about the castle. But then Nickvard clutched his belly and ran off. So I never found out what he wanted, or from where.
That's all?
Aye. If you run into Nickvard, ask him if he still needs it or whether he found it himself. I'll be going into war soon, so I don't have time for these things, see?
I'll tell him.
Greetings.
You must be Nickford, eh?
Senseless death.
Poor wretch.
You silly doggy! It has to be me standing over the body. What a fucking day. Ugh. Starting to stink. Another senseless death.
How many more times am I gonna have to poke around in corpses and shit for that damn cradle?
God grant you health.
kind of stink.